Hi, this is Allison Dawson, and this is going to be my short video talking about how this class, along with the Archer text, has made me feel like a better teacher, being able to put these new strategies in place to make learning more fun for my students, and just overall become a better teacher. So there are kind of three things I kind of want to talk about that I've really taken from this class through Concordia University, as well as the text by Dr. Anita Archer and Charles Hughes. So the first thing is the use of active participation. As a teacher, I've been teaching for 15 years. I'm a special ed teacher working with kids with moderate and severe disabilities. And yes, I always would have my students participate in activities within their learning to help make their learning more meaningful to them. But it was more checking for understanding. I would present information to them, have them kind of repeat it, or be like, ask a question, then we move on. Yes, my lessons, we do the I do, we do, you do, that Dr. Archer talks about in her text. But I never really gave that much thought to having my students participate throughout the entire lesson. So once we, in our class, started talking about chapter 6, which was all these different strategies, I was like, oh, these are easy. This doesn't take much time. I can do this. And, I'll just add a little things in there and see what it does for my students. Well, let me tell you what. It has made teaching more fun for me. It's made it more exciting for my students to learn. I see them more excited, and they're not as bored looking when they are participating. And it's kind of like, duh, like one of those moments, like, well, yeah, if the kids are really interested, they are going to participate. So I went ahead and started making more attempts and having my students actively participate in class. So I do a lot more hand gestures for them, hand signals like thumbs up, thumbs down. I've done the choral responses. I've tried partner responses like once or twice, but a lot of my students are nonverbal. And it needs a lot of accommodations, but I do have some that I have done in partners, and it's nice to see that partner helping the other partner, almost kind of like self-correcting, but more from partners and things. So they are learning from one another, but the ones that I use the most are, like I said, hand gestures. We have used response cards with happy faces and sad faces and things like that. And the kids are just so willing to participate, and I feel like they retain the information a little bit more. Another thing that I have done is I made response cards, and I'm going to show you those. This is in my toolkit. Not response cards, I'm sorry. These are more strategy cards that what I'm hoping to do, let me show you. I don't know if you can really see them here. But what I'm hoping to do is to take those these strategy cards, turn them into 3x5 cards, and attach them together like with a ring, so that it's like a ring of visuals for me. I always make visuals for my students, but these are going to be for me I can flip through them when I'm doing a lesson and be like, oh, let's try, doing hand gestures, or if we're reading a text together, let's try echo reading, just little things like that to kind of change it up so I'm not always doing the same thing all the time. And what I liked about these active participation strategies is that they don't take a lot of time. They can be adapted for my students because, like I said, my students with moderate and severe disabilities, they don't have all the same capabilities at this time as a regular student. But being able to make the adaptations, put them in my classroom, and I have already seen a change in my students, and that's what makes me so excited. So thank you for, letting us have this text that talked about those. Another thing that I've really taken away with this semester or this class has been the teaching vocabulary. So I use a adapted curriculum for my students. Each month it changes the topics, but for each month they always get 12 vocabulary cards that are related to the content. So it's more like tier 3 words because it's just related to the content. This month it's been on a scientific method, science, doing a science fair, having science inquiry minds, things like that. And so vocabulary was always hard for me to teach them because they don't understand a lot of those tough curriculum words. And using the strategies that Dr. Archer has put in place has been so helpful for my students. I introduce the word, have them repeat it after me numerous times. And then I provide them with a student-friendly definition, not the big dictionary one, but the kid-friendly one that they can remember. They repeat that after me. We review it. I try, if I can, give them examples. The non-examples, they're kind of harder for them. Sometimes they get a little confused with non-examples. But depending on the situation or the topic or whatever, I will do that as well. Let's see. Also, checking for understanding, constantly asking them, okay, tell me this again. What was this word that we talked about? What is this picture? What is this picture? Things like that. I normally do about 2 or 3 words a week. They're able to retain them a little bit more. I'm also able to input learning and strategies from Smeckens that my school is really big on when it comes to the writing. They do vocabulary with Smeckens, and so being able to use the word in a sentence, draw the word, or provide a picture. It's nice to see that, Dr. Archer's strategies are also used in other people's strategies, such as Smeckens. And so I'm able to incorporate both of these into the classroom. And I have already seen an increase in some of my students with their vocabulary and being able to use the vocabulary as well. And the last thing I just want to talk about, that this is more of a personal basis, is I was so enthralled by Dr. Archer's Golden Principles videos for helping me that I printed off the actual viewer's guide manual, and I've been filling this out as I go because it creates so much helpful tips for a teacher. And the one that really got me was this last one. It was the passion and compassion. And basically that we as teachers need to teach with passion and then manage with compassion. And so I have noticed a change in how I teach with my students that I'm excited too. It's not just a job. It's not like, oh, great, here I go. I got to teach them, how to write their name. Well, no, it's more exciting because I can have them participate. I see that they are excited. Then I get excited because of their reactions. And so it's just a more fun process. I want my students to learn, and I need to do anything that I can to allow them to learn and to get them to learn. And it may take a little bit longer because of my students with their disabilities, but they can still learn. And I love that whole idea of them learning. And so also the side of it, managing with compassion, I have always strived to create a loving, nurturing, safe, caring environment in my classroom, and I feel my students do better when they can feel safe. And using what Dr. Archer has said about creating a positive environment by even using pre-corrections, teaching a behavior before it happens, kind of looking ahead into that has made me be more aware that, I'm in control of how this classroom is going to go. And I know that maybe my students are going to mess up a little bit, but if I just show them in a kind way, take the time, be, loving and supportive and just nurturing, that they can be better people themselves. So I am so excited about this text. I loved this text. That for the class, I had to have it online. It was like an electronic text. I have bought myself the book because I think that every teacher needs to have this book in their classroom as a resource. I think that every teacher, whether they're just in college learning how to become a teacher or they are a teacher, that they need this text. And so I am so excited about it. I'm excited about continuing putting these strategies in place and being the teacher that I know I can be with these strategies. So thank you for, again, allowing us to have this text. But, thanks for listening to those 3 things that I took away from this class. I must say this has been the most beneficial class I've ever taken. And this is my 2nd master's degree, and I've been through a lot of classes, and I loved this class. So thanks again, and take care. Bye.